Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us early. So we're looking forward to this discussion. And this is being hosted by Find the Link Relates, which is one of the groups of Find the Link. There's parenting and there's Relates for relationships. Big thank you to all of you for coming in early. We all still have a chance to invite someone in. Okay. Just getting my co-host ready. Okay, so we have one main discussant, and everybody is going to be pitching in with their ideas. And she's our main discussant because she's very passionate about her experiences with online dating. So because of a lot of things, including technology and how fast it's been moving, this is something new that is probably going to continue, and it's probably going to happen to some people that we know, maybe us ourselves, maybe our children, our grandchildren. Some people have had positive or negative experiences with online dating, and so we are just going to demystify it a little bit. So thank you all for being here. Feel free to pull in anyone. If they don't want to be on Zoom, they can be on YouTube and they can get the replays after this time. Okay. So I'll probably just talk briefly about Find the Link Relates. Find the Link Relates is about relationships, building healthy or healthier relationships. And Find the Link Parenting is mainly about experience. So those groups are still open and it's still free to join. So if you're not in any of those groups, you could be in one or in both of them, and you are all welcome. And we always have a very robust, healthy discussions, no faff, or very little faff there. Okay, so I would just be welcoming Chinedum Akiti, who is going to be joining us. Are you there, Chinedum? Okay, all right. She's asked to be given a little bit of time. So can we all just briefly type in on the chat box what we are expecting to get from this session? Like the questions on our minds, even before we start. So if we all don't mind just typing that in, what makes you comfortable or uncomfortable about it, or what questions are on your mind about online dating? So we could all just type on the chats box now, please. We have a lot of robust banter. Some people have explored online dating and have different experiences to share. And there's some things that they want to clarify. So we could ask our questions here. That will be awesome. Of course, I know some people are joining mainly just out of interest. They have no plans to do anything, but it's good to be informed about the changes that are going on in this space. So I don't know what we probably want to say we understand by online dating before Chinedum comes up. Are we thinking more about the sites, the specific dating sites, or do we have something else in mind when what comes to when we talk about online dating? Anybody want to share? Feel free to raise up your hand electronically. We're not very many, so you can actually unmute yourself if you want to speak. Anybody? It's an interactive discussion. We're all here to learn. Welcome, Stajumoke. Welcome, AKD Sachs. Welcome, Mommy and Prof. Aiden. Welcome, Babatunde. Dr. Aderoija, I see you. You're welcome. Yola, I see you.
Good evening.
Welcome. Good evening. Barista, what's your experience of online dating? Let's hear you. Barista.
Ma.
Yes. What is your experience of online dating?
Online dating. Good evening, Ma. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I don't have any experience about online dating.
What will you say you know about it?
Well, online dating, it has its advantages and it has its disadvantages. But I believe it's got more.
Well, how did you know that?
Well, I'm above 40, so I should have at least an idea about it.
Okay. What are your thoughts about it generally?
Basically, it could be dangerous. And it could be dangerous, and I don't know, it's a two-way thing.
I guess it is.
It can be neither here nor there.
Well, that's
lucky,
the same risk with every other thing.
Oh, well and good. And if you're... So it's a two-way thing. That's just my take. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Lio, Dr. Lio, what are your thoughts about online dating?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm actually excited about tonight because I know, as in, for me, it's a no-no.
It's a no-no?
For me.
Yeah.
It is. I'm not even, it's just one of those things I just won't give a try because
okay.
I can't, because you could just be, the person could just be deceiving me. Do you get?
Okay.
Online, I don't know. It might not be what, we present ourselves as what we want others to see.
Yeah.
When we even see physically. How much more when it's online? There's so much you can hide there. And like the barrister said, it could be dangerous.
Okay.
Really
good evening, everyone. I'm sorry that
I'm sure there'll be some people that are so for it.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm so for it.
Yeah, well, that's why you're also here to discuss. Hold on, Chinedu, let me bring you to the front. Are you ready now?
Yes, I am.
Are you?
Yes, I am.
Okay, awesome. Where's your video? What about your video? Where's your video?
I'm trying to put that on, so bear with me.
Okay, right.
Bear with me until I do.
So I think we are going to have a lot of healthy banter here, since some people are saying it's a no-no. Though the lady that said it's a no-no is married, so.
Okay.
But yeah.
Let me see.
I guess one major question that we're probably going to need to bring up is about security and sifting out the real from the unreal in this space. So I can see that question from the two comments.
I'm in the car.
Okay, then fine. That's all right.
I'm in the car. I hope you can see.
Okay. Yes, we can see you. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Thank you for joining us. Yes.
I'm like, what you are seeing doesn't look like me. But it's fine.
Well,
good evening, everyone.
A very beautiful version. I can see you very clearly. It's fine. Yeah, so for those that don't know, Chinedum is a very dear friend. She is very, very well read. She has loads of experience in human resources. She's very passionate about building individuals, about building organizations, and about building nations. She's about to commence her PhD, and it's a great pleasure to have her here. She's an amazing friend. She's a great lady. She's a minister and lover of God. And that's the short version. So, okay, welcome, Chinedum.
Thanks. You're too kind. Tammy is a great friend, and I'm really honored to be on this platform, right? I'm really honored that, I mean, she heard my raves and she wound a whole topic around it for me.
Come
But
on.
I thought that I should just share a bit about myself first. So what I want to do is I want to situate, because I've heard all manner of things about online dating. Some of them very valid, but I just would like for us to, if there's anything I want anyone living here from, it's just perspective, right? So I mean, data information, I'm 45 this year, right? I'm told I don't look it, but hey, that's how old I am, right? I was previously married, I'm newly divorced. And up until last year, even though we had been separated for almost 4 years, I hadn't had a relationship. People ask me, how do you do it? Well, I mean, maybe it's being scarred. I don't know, but I was especially careful, right? So this is how I got on this whole dating matter. I have a friend called Tochiko. I mean, if you know me, you've heard about him, right? He's significantly younger. I think he's 37 this year, right? He's at 37 or 36, something like that, right? And we have really interesting conversations. And I'm the kind of person, I meet your mind first before I meet anything else, right? So he has a great mind, So even when, and I typically have strong opinions about stuff, right? So, I can come with a very strong opinion and then he'll say, well, look at this other thing now. Why would you think like this, or why don't you check this other option? And all the time, I find that his opinion has merit. So when, and he has a very interesting life. By the way, I mean, I think he's good looking and he's doing well. In Nigeria, he earns dollars. So, you have to have an idea, right? So when I say to him, but it seems like you're having all the enjoyment in this life. Introduce me to somebody now. And he says, they don't introduce people again in this Lagos. People are, what's it called? However, there's a dating site that I'm aware of and I've used it. I really think it's nice. Now, my gut feel was, me dating site, God forbid. That must mean I'm truly desperate. What? But because of who it was coming from, right? I could think about it. So I understand when people because I too had my own reservation. And I think also the first person I met, on the site also helped because I met him, let's say I met him today, Saturday. He insisted we saw the next day. And we had a really nice conversation, nice dinner. So I think it's set up. So, I mean, maybe if my first experience was nasty, maybe I won't be this enthusiastic. So it was I mean, we had interesting conversation, interestingly. So I mean, let me lay out the cards. I've been on this dating site 8 months. I haven't dated anybody. So it's not, so I think that there's some things that we need to understand first. So for me, for example, I don't put out, maybe because I've been previously married, marriage is not my extreme goal. Once I meet you and you ask me, what do you want out of this? My first thing is I want a quality friend. I don't just want friends, I want a quality friend. Now, some people say, we are too old. Let's do quick. I want a quality friend first. And so I find out why this thing works so much for me. I haven't met anyone I want to marry, but I have met plenty of friends. I've met people who have given me business. I've met people who have introduced me to places that I would never have known about, right? So for me, that's plus, 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 plus. So if you came, because I see some people's profiles and they say, I'm looking for a wife, I'm looking for a husband. In my mind, most times I just jump and pass those people, right? That might be a good intention, but I think that you know, especially because you're meeting this person without any, how do you put it, without any safety net. I think it's important that you first come to find a friend and be a friend. And, you know, so that I thought was important to put out. Secondly, I find that, you know, I have had to change my whole person in order to enjoy this experience. So how do I mean? I've had to change how I think about the dating experience, how I think about myself, and how I think about people who are on the site. So like I say before, I had assumed that you must be really desperate for you to be on a dating site, right? But because I've met so many amazing professionals, people doing great business, you know, I'm like, okay, it's not. Now, some people then tell me that, oh, sorry, they've never met any correct person. So in my mind, I say, okay, maybe you yourself, you are not a correct person. Forgive me, right? So I think it's important to understand that you give out what you get what you give out, right? In fact, let me read something that someone recently sent to me. Of course, like I say, I've met many people. I'm not more okay. So one critical thing I had to change. So in the past, if a guy just as much as said hi to me and I liked him, right, I would close all avenues to other guys. You know, I won't even put I don't know where I got that. I'll just feel like I was cheating, right? I have long since thrown that away. I am meeting as many. So I look at the dating experience pretty much like a HR person would look for hiring somebody. So I say, okay, what's the job description of this person that I'm looking for? I know people don't like it, you know, don't like for me to put it down that, what's it called? Make it that almost clinical, right? But I find that it helps because a lot of times we as women, we come with especially African women, we come with a particular negativity. Well, it depends on how you look at it. But essentially, we've been raised to feel like a man must seek us out first, otherwise we are less. However, I've had to change that. I too am looking for something. You know, it's not just the guy who's looking for a wife. I'm looking for a husband. There's certain things that my husband must have. So I don't come passively to the game anymore. You know, I'm not waiting for who to talk to me. I'm looking out for what's the kind of thing I'm looking for. So like I say, I've had to have major changes. Now, also when I speak with people, I'm not necessarily speaking to you because I want to date you. I'm just speaking with you because I think you are interesting, either by looking at your profile, the conversations we have. I think you're interesting and I want to know you a little more. The more I know you, the more it develops in my mind whether or not I want to spend some more time with this person. Okay. So I said I was going to read something that somebody sent to me, someone that I met on Bumble. He says, well, I just want to let you know that you have been an immense assistance to me during the period we started chatting. I was really down with a lot happening all at once: sickness, depression, pressure, all just muffled up in one body. Reason for me thanking you the other day about the messages you sent to me. I was really at the peak, but thank God it gave me hope of getting over the situation. I don't know about you, but I'm someone who is really about people, right? So getting that message, you don't know how it just made me feel. Can you hear me? Because I'm feeling like I'm alone.
No, we can hear you very well.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. It just made my day, right? So like I say, I'm not coming to that space. All I'm looking for is husband. If you're not husband, I'm not talking to you. No. So for example, a 29-year-old has been toasting me. Now I was talking to a friend of mine and I said, you know, if it was me of before, that's the way I would so quickly block that person. It would, but I just kept asking myself, okay, what can I learn from this person? What can he teach me? What can I teach him? So even when he's been exasperating, I should commit in my mind. I'm like, commit to what? But I've just been, and which also is something around, I think you also need to put all your cards on, be clear. Maybe not, when you first meet the person, but be clear about, I say don't lead people on, because people have emotions matter, people have their life. So if I meet someone who says to me, he wants to marry now, I always say, I'm sorry. It would be nice, so if you can wait and we get to build friendship, right? Because I feel like a lot of times when people jump to that marriage space, they haven't taken the time to build friendship, and then you can have all manner of people doing things, right? So I also wanted to share, because I rave about this a lot of my friends have said, oh, let them give it a try. And then they come back and they complain, right? So recently I said to someone, I said, let me see your profile. And she showed me her profile. She had completed only 40%. She had nothing at all. No word, nothing at all. I said, even me, I won't connect with you. No, it's true. Because at this age, I'm not just looking for a fine face, even if you had a fine face. I want to see what's behind this person. Why should I connect with this person? So, since I knew I was going to talk about this thing, I asked a few of my new friends to just share a bit of their experiences. So one of the people that I met recently that was really interesting to me was someone who, the day I met him, he says was the day he joined, right? And then by the next day we were talking, he said he had 250 likes, and I'm like, how do you deal with 250 likes, please? I only have 3, 5 here and I struggle. So how do you deal with that? Right? So I had to, in fact, I think I talked to you about his profile, Temi, right? Very simple things. I'm a pilot. I like to travel. I have I have what they call that thing. I'm a dual citizen. I have dual citizenship. Now, the thing that drew me to, okay, so one of my, forgive me, I find that we all have different things, right? So my parents, my father and my brothers are sportsmen. I'm not a sportswoman like that. At most games, I have an idea because of my brothers, right? One of the things I realized, I missed in marriage was that sports, that geekiness, so I said, no, so they say we should write list, but we should qualify the list. Now, it doesn't mean that if the person is not a sports person, but I really am attracted to profiles that demonstrate some sports thing, because I think sports teaches you certain things that you don't learn in other, right? So typically, if you refer to some kind of sport, I would be interested. So my point is, present the sides of you that will be interesting for somebody else to know, right? Now, again, back to women, because we are used to being the ones who are chaste, so sometimes you can feel like, why do I have to go through all this trouble, do a profile, and all that? Well, hello, I believe that there are many dimensions of life, right? And sorry, I said I was going to say this at the start. If for any reason, you feel very strongly against this thing, please, by no means, don't feel under pressure, to, they say this is where it is now, let's do. No. I find that anything you have to do under pressure typically will not have a lot of, what they call it, you won't have a lot of joy doing it. So, so don't be under pressure. But also check why you don't like it. So, for example, like I keep saying, for me, I felt like for me to be on this site means that, my matter don't desperate. So, and that's how other people will perceive it. Once I was able to see that, no, that's not it. It gives me options. A lot of these people, interestingly, for example, I met someone who is a member of Ikoyi Club. I'm a member of Ikoyi Club. And we were just gisting, and he was like, oh, he's going to club today. I was like, oh, I'm a member, but I haven't been to club in a long time. No, okay, let's meet there. Now, when I saw him, I realized that if we had met physically, we probably would have nothing to talk about. Not because, not because we are bad people, but because the way we do life these days, especially in Lagos, we all have we all have attitude, even if he said hi, he would have probably stopped at hi, for me. So I find that one of the great things I find about this online thing is that you at least have a first opportunity to meet somebody without too much drama,
Hello, sorry, we missed your last sentence. What did you say?
Okay, I say we at least have an opportunity to meet someone without too much drama. How do I mean? I mean, you are both on the site. You are definitely looking to date. Okay, so clarification. This particular site that I belong to, I haven't tried any other one. This is the first one I've tried. It has two options. One, for you to just meet and make friends, and then one, if you want to date. However, I find that even when because there was a time I actually flipped to that, people still somehow come to the dating, But I have a friend who is married, happily so, and his wife is aware that he's on it. So he's on that, what they call that one, that friendship one, right? So I don't know why I'm saying that one, but I mean, so so I just find though that maybe the temptation is a lot, especially if you then begin to banter and your conversation is flowing. Some negatives that I've observed though. So for example, I've seen at least 2 friends that I personally know who are married, supposedly happily on that site, right? The first time I saw that, I was so, I was so gutted because like I say, they looked really happy and I was just curious, what's this person doing here? So the first time I passed, I flipped. But when he came up again, I selected him because I wanted him to know that I know. But so that tells me that there might be a lot of married people who are on the site. One of the first questions I tend to ask is, are you married? And the reason, like I say, is there might be a lot of people who are married. I don't do married people. I don't, I don't subscribe. So I want that to be very clear from the start go. Also, some people, because you're on a platform that involves Christians, Muslims, all sorts. So some people simply have come there to just pick up somebody to sleep with. That's the reality. So I say to people, first and foremost, present yourself in such a way that you will actually be a madman who will just be looking out to just sleep with you. Although I'm told that you can never tell with men, but hey. So on my profile, I have pictures of me launching my book with Coach Larry Olushola. It wasn't, so I didn't set out to put that, right? What had happened was when I was completing the thing, I was too lazy. So they gave the option of pulling from your Facebook. So I said, let them please pull from my Facebook. So they pulled those pictures and I thought they were nice pictures. So I let them be. So I've spoken about the negatives. I'm trying to open my slides so I can be sure I've finished everything that's important to me to say. The positives again for me, I think that I was in a space where I didn't have a lot of self-confidence, and maybe not having to meet the person first. So most times when I meet the people in physical space, it's almost like we've known each other for years. Why? Because I find that so this particular app has it has a section where you can create questions to ask, curate questions to ask, or just use their own questions, right? So you don't have to struggle to have conversation. You can just ask questions. Another negative. So for example, forgive me, one of my bucket list is to date a white person. Don't ask me why. Right? But I'm like, since I never got to do it, I might as well try it, right? So I have made connections with at least 7 Caucasians. Almost inevitably, they block me. I don't know why they block me, but they do. So
it's a sign, eh?
almost inevitably, they don't block me. you know, and so the reality though is that can be damaging to your self-esteem if you don't build it well. Because you're just talking with these people. Next thing you just see they are blank. Kilo day. I thought we were having a good conversation. The last one was like, I think you take things too seriously and you're no fun. I say, hey, me, I used to think I was fun, no. But you know,
You are.
again, with the Caucasian, when I say dates, I mean I'm open to marrying any of God's children, really. So, but I don't think I want to marry Caucasian, but I just want to. I think it's the Nigerian in me. I just want to experience, or maybe having, going out, just for whatever reason. So one of the things that I like about this is that you can you can you can try out things that you will not try out in real life. So for example, in real life, I've never even so much as seriously spoken to somebody with plaited hair before, right? But I've met people here who have what they call it, dreadlocks, all manner of things. And I'm like, okay, let's see, So I think I've become more, what's the word? More curious and more emboldened. And by nature, I am a curious person anyway. So I think that, I've been able to express my curiosity in different ways. I've met people that I would ordinarily not meet, and I've discovered, this person is not so bad. So, I would stop now so that we can banter. And I mean, sorry, one last thing I wanted to say. If you're going to try this thing out, I'd ask that you give it your all. How do I mean? Don't bother to join if you will not take the time to complete a basic profile. At least up to 70%, complete it, right? Also, understand that people are, so for example, this person with 250 likes, it's clear to me that he's not somebody that I will date, right? But he's a very interesting person, So today, for example, we had so I was like, I'm doing this conversation. I'd like to get your take, on this. So I asked him, why did you join? He was like, actually, he didn't join. A friend of his completed the thing for him. And, I was like, okay. So why are you still on? He was like, I mean, he has met all manner of people. Interesting. Okay. What makes you click? What makes you swipe right? What makes you swipe left? Consistently, I think I spoke to about 3 or 4 people. Consistently, they want to see some character behind the person. So you're completing those profiles to help. He in particular, I call him 250 plus. Like he said that, he's particular about the kind of photos that you share, that so he doesn't want the kinds of photos to just be photos of, maybe you just taking pictures of food or something like that. So I asked why. He was like, that he likes food, so he takes pictures of food. But sometimes when you meet people who are just there to take the picture, that it shows and that he knows. I asked another person, and he said that one of the things that attracts him to swipe right or left is the kind of the presentation of the person, because he has particular things he's looking for. He wants a professional who is well traveled, who is, so everybody has different things they're looking for. So I guess when you're completing your profile, should you choose to do one, ask yourself, this kind of person that I seek, because hopefully you have a clear picture about the kind of person you want to do life with, right? What would attract this person to me? Do I have it? If you have it, present it. If you don't have it, don't waste your time and the person's time as well. Lastly, until we continue the conversation, be safe out there. I met someone who was saying to me to come to his house. And I'm like, are you okay? come to your house, first meeting as what, right? I found that very off-putting, right? I think that at the very basic, the first time you meet in a public place, and then make your decisions as to what you want to do. I hope I've started out a good conversation so we can take it.
Yes, you have. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Can we see your face now?
Oh, okay. I thought my face was so short.
No, not anymore for some reason. Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you. Yeah, so you've what did they say? In literary and debating society. As in, you have finally, as in, either you have confused us or you have. You did not confuse us, no. Okay. Can we raise up hands electronically and mute ourselves, please? Thank you. Because we are quite a number now, so we probably need to be a bit organized with the questions. So there were some things you said that maybe those of us that are green might not have understood. So what does swiping left and right mean? Your face is gone again.
Oh, okay.
And
sorry,
what
I'm trying to see who is on, so I guess that removes my face. Okay.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah. And what does the likes mean? Swiping left and right, and what does the likes mean?
Okay, so
let's
the way
start from there.
So the site I speak of is Bumble, because like I say, that's the only site I've been on. Doesn't mean that so someone I spoke to today says he's been on 5 different sites. I'm like, what are you looking for? What is looking for you? Right? So it's only Bumble that I've been on. And Bumble's so one of the things I really like about Bumble is that the guys can't approach you as a female until you decide that you want them to. Do you understand? So unlike a lot of other sites where, if a guy sees you, he likes you, can just talk to you. So even if a guy says he likes you, so even if he clicks, I like this person, you two have to click, I like him. Then there will be that connection. So the likes are, so if you see somebody and you like the person, you click, I like, right? So swiping right means, yes, I want to connect with this person. Swiping left means, no, I don't want to connect with this person.
Right.
So they move. Also, they have paid versions. I haven't used paid version because I'm an alaro like that. I'm like, why do I have to pay for these things? But people who use paid versions say that they so you don't have to wait. So for example, if they let it be 100 people that like me, until you pay, you can't click, you can't see directly. You can't click immediately that they like you. They have to bring the picture to you, right? And then you will now so you can't tell this person likes me. You have to click, and if both of you match, then you match. But if I was on a paid plan, I could see who liked me and choose, okay, let me just click, so that's why. So the likes are people who like you, or they indicate by clicking that they like you. That's all.
Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing. So we can obviously see that she's quite excited about this experience. Yeah.
Sorry, one last thing I left out. One major negative, and I think I need to put it down, is that because it's so visual, I can imagine that if you're not good looking, and good looking is in the eye of the beholder, you may not get as many connections or whatever. So I met someone who had a huge beard, and like I say, this thing has taught me a lot about myself. And I generally don't like bearded people. And he kept trying to reach out. And one day the Holy Spirit asked me, is it just because he has a beard? And I was in shock. I was like, God, I didn't realize that I'm that petty, And so I made the extra effort to see the person. So one of the things I like is that I'm discovering myself in ways I didn't even realize. So yeah, so that negative is that if you're visual, so I don't like fat people, God forgive me, even though I'm not the slimmest on the earth. So it will be highly unlikely for me to click for a fat person. But if if we had met physically and we had a good conversation, I wouldn't be under that, so there's that constraint, yeah. But then again, that's how all humans are. It's only God that looks at the heart. Humans look outside. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that is why you've mentioned a lot about presentation. So I'll put it on the chat now that there is one of the videos on the relationship series that was done by myself and Sister Sophie, and it was titled The Art of Presentation. It's quite helpful just because before we see the goodness of your heart, we've probably seen how you look physically and how you carry yourself. And it doesn't have anything to do with makeup, actually. Or clothes, because people can wear different things and they can even wear cheap things. It's the way they carry it that makes it appear like, oh, maybe they are wearing something expensive. So they are the ones that give value. You are the one that gives value to what you wear or put on. Of course, it's always a great thing to look regal, royal, queenly, confident. But confidence is not something everybody has, though people do a lot of acting. So I think the things I've picked from this is that have fun, as in enjoy your life. And she's mentioned something at the beginning, which is like a security detail. Don't wear your heart on your sleeve. So if you say you're looking for a wife, for instance, it means people that are looking for husbands will definitely gravitate to you. And there are loads of people like that in different kinds of guises. You can't really say who's real or who's not. You've kind of made it very obvious. Of course, most people are looking for a spouse, most. And it's good that we've made it very clear about, we might want to even discuss that further about how ethical it is for one married partner to be on a site. I guess if they were both husband and wife on the same site, then maybe they can be discussing, but that's a completely different ball game. Can we start asking questions now? If we can raise our hands electronically, that would be awesome. So she's made some points. Find a friend, be a friend. Change is part of life, although not everybody wants to change. They're just comfortable where they are. So she's mentioned about stepping out of her comfort zone. And that is a big deal, but we grow in the process when we do that. And I guess we lose some of the bias when we meet different people. So it's made her it has increased her knowledge. It has made her a broader person. It has expanded her horizon to think differently. And that is always a good thing. That is always a plus. She's talked about her confidence rising, though I never thought she was lacking in confidence at any point. I'm building profiles. So she's mentioned that, and that is definitely what we would say. If something is worth doing well. So if you know you want to do it, don't go into it in a half-hearted fashion. If you want to use it. But she's also mentioned, don't raise your hopes too much. God can use any avenue. And because God loves all his children, she might have an online ministry and be specifically led to people on Bumble. And maybe there is somebody that needs hope and things like that. So, of course, as a believer, we think in those ways in which we can be a blessing to other people. Yeah, so she said she wanted to date a wise man, was saying into the universal different things, the power of the tongue.
I don't exactly understand that, so please explain.
No, she's just saying that the tongue has power. That's with one part of your mouth, you say you really want to date a white man, but you already know you don't want to marry one.
I'm open though.
So maybe, well, I guess you already know what the answer is. You see the writing on the wall. Yes, I think I saw Dr. Adira Royeje raising his hand. Were you about to ask a question?
No, I didn't raise my hand though. I just posted some comments there.
You said what?
I just posted some comments on the chat. I didn't raise my hand to ask any question.
Okay.
But I believe that really it can work. I have several examples of people who had worked, and I have examples that didn't work. So So it all depends on a lot of things, and it all boils down to the kind of person we are as individual and the person that you are also reaching out to, the kind of personality they have in terms of some basic life principles, some things that are primary to living and all that. So it has just like in those of us who had interactions from outside, physical interaction from outside, they turn out good and they turn out bad. Some turn out good, some turn out bad. So that's just part of life. But I just believe that everybody has what God had ordained for them, the path they will follow, and we should just be open-minded to allow God to lead.
Thank you very much for sharing. Yes, everybody has a purpose, has a path. We should discover it. Of course, people that are suffering from an identity crisis, it will be difficult for them to, I don't want to say maybe find great relationships because they've not even found out who they are, which can be a very deep issue. If you don't know who you are, how do you know what you're even looking for or what you need? So that's quite important. I know a lady, I met her when I was working in London years ago. She's a Caucasian lady. She was married. She was quite happily married. And she mentioned that she met her husband on a dating site, and that somebody encouraged her because she was becoming an older spinster. And by the time they had 500 dates, they were about to get married. Now, that is a huge investment in someone to go out for 500 dates. And by that time, I'm sure they definitely knew each other. They had probably blended quite well, and they were really coping well and having a great time as a couple. So one size doesn't fit all. It might not be the way it will work for you, but it might work for your sister or your child or grandchild or a friend that you know. And yes, I can see two hands up. I don't know who put them up first, but I'll take Bashi first and then Dr. Ifeolu Akintunde next. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. What a very good conversation going on here. Sorry I came in late, but the little I could hear the speaker said was very, very, I would like to enlighten the speaker. Though she sounded funny, but I need her to know herself very well. I sent a message that I was one that sent a message that you wanted to date a white man, but actually you're saying to the universe a very different thing. I believe in God, but I believe that God has given us power and we are the creator of our life. He has given, because in the Bible he said, I have given you everything, and it depends on how you use it. And our tongue is one of the things that we should be very, very careful of. I used to be in that position, but because I live intentionally now, I am very, very conscious of what I say. So I want her to sit down, look into what she is herself. It was a good exploration that she was exploring. She should know herself from now, and she should speak what she actually said. And that is what is called footprinting. It's because what you are saying, you are giving the footprinting of what you are. Secondly, she mentioned about beard. I am a living example that I've missed a potential husband because of hairstyle. I remember when I was in medical school, a proposed man came into my life from America, all because he saw my picture. And to be fair, he was a good man. But you know, in America, teenagers, adults, the way they do their own hairstyle is always, I'm used to my daddy hairstyle that you fagbogbo blonde. So, but the hairstyle actually puts me off. And that was the only thing. Years after I married and my marriage broke down, I was in Washington for a conference and I met the guy again. He was in the same conference. And he was actually telling me how much we got engaged back. And to be fair, it is one of my regrets sitting down as a single mother today. So don't ignore some things. Secondly, I wrote down that you experience what you said, something that you are that makes me write courage to dare and step out of your comfort zone. I think you should dare more. If you can read a book about daring, vulnerability, what is it, author? Something to do with daring, dare to live. I think one of them, the author is a well-known author. It will be very, very good, because it is good to dare. Because if you are courageous, you will dare to do anything. You dare to get help. You dare life itself. So I need us to get out of our comfort zone and be discomfort in our comfort, so that we can grow. So thank you for sharing the website. And what again, that was what came after me. But she sounds funny, but don't take it funny. Start living intentionally. You are on that dating site for a purpose. Unless you don't want that purpose to materialize, your life should be lived intentionally. Honestly speaking, that is just my advice. I am very sorry if I've come rude or too blunt, but this is me just saying my journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing, Dola Bashi, and for sharing your story. I'm sure it would help someone, it would encourage someone. About the daring part, I don't know what God is telling you to do, because as far as I know, she's like one of the most daring people ever.
You know, as you said that thing in my mind, I say, if I dare anymore, some people will beat me.
Well, yeah, I guess it might just be a sign that no, you have not even started daring. There are amazing things ahead. So yeah, keep daring. And then there's yes, thank you for talking to us about the power of words. We can create, we create our world by the power, by the words we speak. So yeah, we do need to be really mindful, all of us that are going to have great and amazing lives. So there's this lovely lady that's sharing a story to us, Adelbi Okoye. Thank you for joining us. She said dating sites work. We need to be open-minded and enjoy the moments. She says her sister met her husband on Afro introduction site, and they've been married 8 years, having a beautiful marriage. And she has a friend that met her husband on Twitter, started with conversations, and they ended up getting married when they were looking. That's a funny line. But yeah, that is great. I think I will take Dr. Ifeolu Akitunde now. Thank you.
I'm not sure you can hear me clearly. I'm walking home.
We can hear you. We can hear you. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. I always said that there are 8 billion different kinds of people in the world, and each person has a unique story. So I've heard about daring, and I'm sorry I was late. I'd like to just share you a little bit of my own experience on online dating sites and why I don't use it. When I have, and up till now, people are still advising me to go on online Christian dating sites. When I first wrote on those dating sites, when I introduced myself, I found that if I wrote that I was a blind person, nobody would talk to me. And then if I didn't, people would talk to me until I would have to say, well, I need to fess up. I'm actually a blind person. And on 2 occasions, I would send them messages and messages after that and get absolutely no response. So the thing with online dating sites is the problem of creating first impressions. And oh, hello, Vicky, how are you? Just on the phone now. Yeah. Just okay. God bless you. Someone from my church. Okay. So the problem is the problem of making first impressions, because we live in a world of first impressions, but first impressions never tell the full story. And so to hear a full story, a picture and a profile of a limited number of words has never ever been able to tell anybody's full story. And I reckon that a lot of people who have been on online dating sites and have missed out on the right people just because they looked at the profile and they felt this profile isn't my kind of person. Whereas if they had taken some time to to look at the person a bit deeper than the profile. You can't judge a book by its cover, things like that. Anyway, that's my comment. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I guess, we're talking about the arts of presentation, but sometimes some things are, we will say, obvious. It's part of your presentation. There's no running away from it. So if you're a blind person, there's no avoiding it. It's going to come out at some point. So he's giving an example of saying he's made them aware, just being truthful from the get-go, but that has not created any impact. It's just made them run. And then he's decided, okay, let me not put that, but it still ended up in quotes being the same thing. So it's about how much, when, but it's going to come out.
Okay.
Dr.
Sorry,
Ifeolu happens to be
I'd
a
like
very
to.
confident lawyer, and a very godly man as well. So I'm sure it would not shake his confidence in himself or in God. But of course, it's giving us a perspective when things are not so pleasant in that sense. And some people would not even take the time to develop a relationship that could have been an amazing one. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, Chinedu, over to you. And we
Yeah,
can't see your face again. What's it?
oh, sorry, no vex. Sorry, I wanted to, so remember that I said that one of the negatives is the emphasis on physical. That's just the reality, yeah, on the physical. So I had an experience where, so I mean, you get to meet in the public space, so you've been this thing. Most of the time, you've seen the face, looks okay, and then someone comes in and yes, he had told me he had an accident and his legs were almost amputated. But I mean, I hadn't seen the impact of that. The impact of that was that pretty much he was obviously limping. And, the first thought in my heart was, but then so I said that to say this, right? We're all, except you make the extra effort, we're all instinctively physical, right? So even, I mean, you like something about the person's, I mean, you're not seeing the heart now, it's the physical first. So I wanted to say, I said that to say this to the doctor, that yes, people will be reluctant to meet with a blind person because all of us have, we've grown up with different, ideologies, ideas. So I'll be responsible, and all that. But I find that, so which is what I try to do. I say build a friendship first online. I mean, so they can't see that you're blind, right? Build some kind of friendship first. I mean, I don't think that you're so I mean, after I met this person who had this leg something, we still have conversation, you know. I would still like to have another meeting with the person. It's not as important to me anymore as it first was when I saw the person. So that's what I'm trying to say in essence really is that yes, I mean, people will make judgments based. The scripture that God always gives me is that I'm the only one that looks at the heart. Men look outward. So um don't be, if you know that there's a physical thing that, I mean, so I spoke with someone as well today who says that he actually traveled from Canada to the US to meet someone, and then he was very upset. He felt like he was defrauded. I asked why. He said, well, it was obvious she had put up pictures that were significantly younger than her real self, and then when he met with her, she had this huge tummy, and it was a major turn off for him,
Okay,
and
sure.
that he felt like she was deliberate about doing that, because if she wasn't so careful in hiding her body, I mean, they did video calls and all that, so they could have seen. So, I mean, yes, I would say if there are any parts of, if there are any parts that may be of concern, I would say hold it back first until you really get to know each other. And I'm not saying pretend. I'm saying, because I don't know, there's this guy they call the Rabbi of America. He says if people first connect mentally, that typically the physical is not as big a deal. But that what is happening to all of us these days is that we're first seeing picture, please send me picture, send me picture. And then, if we don't like the picture, we don't even try to connect mentally. So try to connect mentally first. And then most times when you've built some kind of rapport and you say, by the way, I'm blind though, the person is more willing to consider, as opposed to you just see the person, you know. So that's my thought, Sha. I could be wrong.
Thank
Well,
you very much. very
Can I
much
just say
sharing.
something in response to that?
Yeah,
You
sure.
see, we have how many billion cells in our body, so we're also very complex. All right. If you see me walking around the streets, if let's say I was walking to a shop and you walk past me, there's no way you won't go, oh, this person is a blind person. But if you see me walking around, I have to confess that you would also be amazed at how I do it. So the thing for me is the way I've looked at blindness is it's not me. It's just one part of me. Therefore, for me, maybe because of the way I've grown up, it's not the way I define myself. I can tell you that I'm blind just as a part of my story, but not as my story. But the problem then becomes that others look at it as your full story. So we are looking at it actually, we're looking at the same fact from different angles, maybe because of our different experiences. But someone who sees me is looking at my blindness as my defining feature, whereas I'm looking at it as a part of what makes me who I am. It actually has surprise, some very positive effects on how empathetic I am to certain situations. It may have had negative effects as well. But the truth is, the way I'm looking at life is it's just a part of what makes me one of the 8 billion people in this world, whereas others are looking at it as what is defining me. And that is where the problem remains. I think I'll stop there because this argument could go on forever.
Go on, Laura.
Thank you. And it's definitely not an argument. First time I spoke to Dr. Ifeolu, I remember thinking that, oh, he's such an interesting person. He's such an interesting person. And he just said it in passing about, attending school, the school for the blind and all of that. And it was really interesting about all the things he was able to do and how he works and does life in his own way. And very, very inspiring as well. But I must say that it is always a good thing to put your best foot forward. And this goes for relationships generally. And I remember him saying about being blind, and I say, well, we all have something wrong with us. Some are just more obvious than yeah. So we all have something that we are not very confident of or proud of or something. It might be something in our past, it might be something in our bodies, or even all of the above. It might be a chronic physical or mental issue, and it doesn't diminish from the amazing individuals we are and can be. So that is the mindset to take, and it's a broad mindset, a mindset that accepts everybody as they are, and sees them as part of God's wonderful creation. So Dolapo is bringing up a point here about it might not be for you, it might be for someone you know. And I was going to say this Yoruba proverb, business partner. So it's not necessarily that, no, let me translate that. If you cannot use the person, if the person cannot be your wife or your spouse, the person can be your business partner, can be your friend, can be your own sister's husband. So it's not always about you, because God loves all his children. So you might just be the means God is using to sort somebody else out.
Yeah,
So
and
she's
I just
talking
wanted to
about
make a comment because I see a lot
yes,
of comments on the chat about it being no-nos. And
yeah,
I mean, like I keep saying, it is possible that it is a no-no for you, but I would appreciate if you really checked where that was coming from. Because
yes,
sometimes we are all coming from some funny ideologies. So one of the things I do, I investigate. If I say I don't like this thing, why? Why don't I like it? Is it
yeah.
because I've been told it is wrong, or there's something, so investigate. And then people say to me, I'm not that kind of person. I say, what kind of person are you? Right? No, it's true. And a lot of times, especially with women, that's why I'm being hard. Forgive me if I'm coming across too hard. Especially with women. You meet a woman, she has not met a guy in the past 10 years, right? And then she says it's not for her. And I say, okay, why? You say, I'm shy. I'm like, is it working for you? Right? So one of the things we need to know is that there are many dimensions of us that are not working and need to be changed. It's not enough to just say, that's not me. Who are you really? Do you know who you really are? A lot of times we don't. Yeah. So please, I have no problems. Everybody cannot be like Chinedu. It might not be, you might just feel that. And also another negative I failed to miss to add is sometimes you're just meeting people and you're not building depth. you know. So if you're not careful, like I say I've met over 100 people since this November that I started this matter. 100 people, it plenty, right? So you might get into the mode of, oh, I'm meeting interesting people, Okay, so what's next after the interesting people, right? So that might be something you want to look at. And then I wonder in my head that, okay, when you guys are married, if you end up getting married, would there be issues around, you know, so it says the person is on their phone and they are smiling. Would there be issues like, is he on the website? you know, I've thought about that because I have an active mind. But I mean, how I look at it is this is an opportunity to meet much more people than I could ever have met. And that's the more people you meet, the more possibilities exist. So for me, I'm like, are you giving yourself possibilities? Right? So that's where I am at. So
awesome.
If
awesome.
God has told you that that's not where your husband is, okay. I don't.
Yes, you can't afford to just be trying things randomly. Don't close your mind to anything, but not everything is for you. So if you feel a strong aversion to something, then there's no need to be thinking about trying it in that sense. It's like saying it's sometimes like even devices or something. Some people would say they tried smoking. Other people would never even have tried it from the get-go due to different kinds of influences in their lives and how they turned out. So yes, thank you very, very much for sharing. I'm hoping we have some more questions. She's talked about our circle of influence, and that is a great, great point. It is a good thing to expand our circle of influence. We are the salt of the earth. We have more ability to impact somebody's life if we know them or we're connected to them in some way, and vice versa. If there's anyone that would like to say something now, can see we have quite a number on the Zoom. Sister Rossi, it's very good to see you. Sister Sophie, Ifoma, very, very good to see you. I was hanging out with Sister Sophie and Ifoma.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you,
have something?
Thank everybody. No, thank you.
Okay.
I listen.
Okay. All right. Do we have some questions from the house? Any questions? Any comments about what's been said so far? I know some people might have missed the discussion, but she's talked some main things. If you're going to be on there, build your profile. Make an effort to build your profile. Don't just put one line. She's put an interesting thing about what somebody put. So when she told me about that person's profile that had 250 likes, the person being a pilot, the person being a dual citizen, and the person liking to travel. I said each of them is enough to generate likes. Dual citizen in a country where a lot of people want to run away sometimes because of the situation in the country. That's a huge attraction. Then pilots, I guess there's some fantasy about a spouse being a pilot. Then a traveler, well, I guess there is the assumption that the traveler is going to be they're going to be traveling together, which is not sometimes unfounded. But yeah, I guess that's some attraction. But yes, this is probably the world our children are going to be born into or live in already. So I guess it's very good to be informed and also find ways in which we can ask valid questions, make sure that they are safe, make sure we are safe. She's mentioned a person that told her that will she come to his house and for a first time, and that's a no-no. There are people that are psychopaths, there are people that are serial killers. So those are things you don't want to delve into. I had a bit of a nasty experience with someone that I was chatting with on Facebook that had an intention to, in quotes, implicate me and name me as a bad person because he was smarting from a failed marriage. And in his words, things went down for him and his wife started acting up and then they had to go apart. So he was still smarting from that and said he wants to find out what this person is about. So he just constructed this huge thing about, oh, he's a prince, somewhere in Yoruba land. He has these are his publications, his lectures, blah, 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 many, many, many things. Okay. The only saving grace that I had was that I was talking to respected people in my circle. And those were my parents. So I told them about him. He said this, he said that. He said he's coming to greet me. Only for him, on the day he was supposed to come, he now said some business that he sent someone to go and sort out. He has now had to go himself, and it has fallen on the day he was supposed to come and all of that. And he wants to send me some money to appease me. I said, why? For what? I said, you don't need to appease me. You can see me on my way out if I'm passing through Lagos. I don't need money for anything. Is it Christmas? Is it birthday? What am I collecting money from you for? He was trying to soothe his conscience for what he had done. Unknown to me, he was lying. I don't know what convicted him, but he now confessed that everything he had said was a lie. And I think I was quite jolted by it, because Find the Link had started and everything. And I was quite in shock that if this is happening, then how much sense have I really learned that this happened? But I thank God it did not go too far. I guess I had a bit of a bruised ego. But after that, it made me think that what if I didn't have these people around that I was talking to and were my sounding board? Because it was looking so real. Now, I'm not saying that things cannot happen fast, but when trust, I had to ask the person that, so which part of what you said was the truth? And that's the thing, trust has to be built. That cannot be fast-tracked. You can have conversations, but trust is earned. You can't just automatically trust somebody that you've never seen before. You can have a relationship. I was talking to Chinedum. I said, well, it can. I was saying, we sometimes say you cannot go from 0 to 100, but if you're a believer, you can hear, things like, can a nation be born in a day? Can Zion be, So we know that God can do a quick work. That is very possible, but then there has to be a conviction. There has to be insight. There has to be vision. It will not just be a hit and miss event. Margaret Adoye, you're waiting to speak. Let's hear you, Maggie. Good to have you. Maggie is a psychiatrist in the making.
Yeah, I just wanted to make comments. It's actually a good should I say topic of discussion, because in our online world now, I feel a lot of things have become more technical. And just like now, people are working from home and things like that. So I believe that online dating is, well, I would say it's an option. To be honest, I have used online dating, so I've had my own share of experience. But I suppose,
do you want to share with us?
I've been to a few ones, but to be honest, I think the only one I'm mainly on is the Bumble.
Okay.
Interesting enough, I think I find it more. I think why I like Bumble compared to others was I am in control of who I interact with.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know. I feel like you can select or pick who you want easily from Bumble than other different sites. I think. I think my take on it is I encourage people to be open about it, because I don't know, if I'm talking about myself, I live in a very busy world. So I think personally, the only thing I think about online is that the dangers is, I think, when you meet someone online and you don't have a mutual friend and everything, so all the information you're having is basically from them. And I think there's actually, if you're just going for friendship or whatever, that's fine. But if you're looking for something more serious, I think there's more work to do in terms of getting more information and not just what the person's saying in terms of what they tell you, but you also have to confirm many of the things that they've told you. So it's a bit of hard, I don't know if I say hard work, but if that's the case, then you have to take things more slowly, because if you meet somebody through a mutual friend or maybe in the church or whatever, you probably have some information about the person already. But if you're meeting somebody online, you don't, so a lot of times you might not know anything about the person. And I think, just like Chinedum said, that's why it's always good to just start on the friendship level, just to get to know the person, and even if you get to know the person with time, of course, probably you get to know the friends or whatever, and then maybe you earn your trust over time and not just rush things, because there's very limited information. Even though they've said things in their profile, well, how do you know the person sure that everything they've said in their profile is true?
Yeah.
It can be a starting point that attracts to the person, but then with time you need to verify a lot of the things that they put on their profile and what they've told you, and that would take time. And one has to be very careful security wise. So as long as as long as you conscious about those things, and you say to yourself, you're going to take your time to get to know the person from the beginning. I think it is an option. I mean, I know people who have actually gotten married through that platform and things like that, but I just feel you need to do your own work properly, especially when you don't know anything about them from the beginning.
Thank you very much for sharing. Very valid points. And what you've now said now reminds me of a friend and I that was sharing, and she was talking about the gentleman that she had married, who, and this was not even online, but he did not have a degree, he did not have a job, and she did not know till she married him. So if someone says they have a degree, it might be a good idea to know their classmates and to see their certificates. If someone says they are divorced, it might be a good idea to see what the divorce certificate looks like. I don't know why people decide to lie when they know they are looking for a lifetime commitment. I think it's a really, really ignoble thing to do, but some people still do it. So let us be careful, online, offline, every line, church, religious, everywhere. Let's be really careful. And let us pray. Some things we just cannot see. Let us be prayerful. We cannot underestimate the power of prayer. And so with that, I think we're coming to the end. Feel free to check out the YouTube channel, Take It Up by Praising Child. Feel free to join our online WhatsApp groups in which we discuss questions, we trash things, lots of wise discussion on there. You are welcome to join us. You can talk to the person who invited you here, or connect with me on Facebook. It's also Take It Up by Praising Child, and I can link you to the group. Is Sister Sophie still here? Is Sister Jumoke 80 still here? Are you there? Yes, Sister Sophie, do you want to say a few words?
No, I've already typed what I was going to say, and everybody has spoken, so well. So yeah, just to wrap up, online is interesting. Right? Everything is available to everybody, but everything will not work for everybody. So because it worked for one person doesn't mean it will work for another person. And because it didn't work for one person doesn't mean it will work. So everybody has to own their lives, explore their options, realize and trust God.
Guess some parts of what you said are muffled, unfortunately. I do remember that Rolly said she wanted to say very briefly about her experience in the online dating sphere. I remember she's popped in from work in a different time zone from Canada. Thank you, Rolly, for joining us. Do you mind just summarizing what you wanted to tell us? I think we might need to hear something that you want to say. Rolly, are you there? Yeah.
Hello,
Rolly.
everyone.
Yeah. Hello, Rolly.
Yeah. Good evening from here. Sorry, I just thought to hear what people are saying, and I'm sure someone has already said one or two things I wanted to see.
You don't know now.
Well, the little I've heard, but it's okay. Yeah. So yeah, I must say that I tend to be curious. I like to experience new things. So when I think it was Chinedum that told me about Bumble, she had hyped it so much. I said, okay, let me check it out. So I checked it out a bit. And in fact, they should make her ambassador, Nigeria ambassador.
She's really selling their market.
I checked it out a bit in Nigeria, nothing much, but I just want to talk about my experience in the Canada. So I said, well, since I'm in a different environment, let me even check it. So I did check, and got chatting with one or two interesting people. But then I decided to meet someone. I can't remember. It was African. Anyways, African from one country. I can't remember the country. But a French, I think it's Cameroon. Yeah, Cameroon. So we agreed to meet at a park, at a public park. We had chatted and everything. And then, we got to the park. I saw him. He seemed like a normal person. But, because I'm just normally, cautious, like, who is this person? Or a bit, he wore sunshades all through, which I thought it wasn't out of place anyway, since it was it's summer and it was sunny, but he wore sunshades. And then I insisted that he took it off. He did take it off. In fact, when I said I was coming to the park, he had offered to come and pick me up. I said, no, I will meet you there. So that was one. So we met there. There was like a festival going on, outdoor festival. So there were quite a number of people. We started to chat. We chatted a bit, and then we went to get something to eat and drink. So while I was there, I met if couple of Nigerian people I know there. So I made a show of going to see them, greet them, even hugged one of them, and then came back to meet him. Anyways, we chatted, but I found it strange. He said he doesn't have any friend. He's not on any social media. That, in fact, he's not even on WhatsApp. So, I was like, who can exist? He said no. Apparently, he was married he had been separated, a bit divorced or something, but he was open to meet people, but he wasn't on any social media platform. So already, that just got me very suspicious about the person, like, who doesn't get on social media. Anyway, we had an interesting conversation. I asked him, are you a Christian? Do you go to church? He said he doesn't go to church. That is agnostic. I said, okay, I will invite you to my church. He said, okay, you will think about it, no problem, And then he said, oh, have I seen some other places that if I would like to see the place? I said, no, not a problem. So we chatted, spent maybe like about an hour plus there, because I really wanted to come for the festival. That was the motivating factor for me. And then he offered to drop me. So I felt comfortable enough for him to drop me. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. So he dropped me off, and then said, oh, keep in touch and everything. And what I found funny was that by the end of the day, I think I had cause to go to Bumble. And I saw that he had deleted me.
Really?
Or even removed himself. So I just said, well, trust me, there are lots of very weird people out there. You do get to meet a lot of interesting people, but they are weird. Because in my opinion, he even said he was coming to my church, and then next person he had deleted, he had removed. That just made me laugh, to be honest. So, but apart from that, I think it's a place for friendships. Relationship, you could get lucky, but I think just aim for friendships,
Good.
And be always very cautious. Do not release too much information. That is so key,
Thank you. Great piece of advice. And thanks for sharing your very interesting experience. I don't know whether you've encouraged or discouraged people from trying it now.
I hope I did not discourage anyone.
I'm just kidding. Maggie, do you want to say something again? Yeah?
Yes, I just wanted to comment. Like, I'm always worried about those that don't have social media, because a lot of times, most of them, they're hiding something. I don't know. And I've had
this gentleman has had a bad experience. I don't want to say I'm playing devil's advocate, because I have no connection with the devil whatsoever. But
possibly. Yeah.
Yes, but I actually know somebody that is not on anything. He's a senior colleague. He's not on anything.
Even WhatsApp.
Yes, even WhatsApp. Many years till now.
If he's not on all that stuff, then you have to do a lot of hard work to find out things about that person.
Yes,
that's my take. Because the last time, the one of my relationship experience, when somebody said it was not on social media, I got to find out that it was because he was already married. The person was on social media, and as God will do it, that's how how I got to know was because we had a mutual friend, and the person was wishing him happy birthday, and I was like, I think I know this person. I just clicked on it. I was like, oh my God, this person has a social, whatever. But of course, I do understand that people might not want to be on social media or whatever. But I think for that kind of a person, then I'll probably need to do you need to do a lot of investigation and do more work, in knowing who they're all about and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. Final words from Chinedum. You can unmute yourself, Chinedum, because I've muted you. Let's have your final words, Chinedum.
Okay, final words. I mean, I mean, Find the Link is primarily a Christian connection group, right? So, like I say with everything, I mean, be led of God, you know, commit everything, you know, into prayer. You are going to meet somebody, you are connecting to somebody. There's some people I want to swipe left on. Left is to reject, and I feel a strong, don't reject this person, just, you know, connect, right? So, I believe that, you know, we're all supposed to be ministers of God. We may not be ministering on a Sunday and preaching as a pastor, but our very lives are ministrations in different ways. So ensure that you're not just, you know, because, and I feel I need to say this, because sometimes we compartmentalize our lives. So I meet some people who say, I don't like talk to girls in church because, you know, I always say, what is the problem now? You know, so in even in the online dating space, involve God, pray about people, pray, you know, just pray, Sha. And again, just have fun, enjoy life. God made this life to be enjoyed, really.
Yes.
You know, it amazes me the places that exist in Lagos that I had not been to. And I'm generally supposedly an outgoing person, you know, so, you know, so be open-minded. And then of course, if you've had bad experiences, don't minimize it. You know, pay attention. What, you know, because sometimes I some people pass through. I like to think I have a strong sieving system. I mean, I don't like bad. You know, I am. This is in your profile. Just how many words you are making tense issues with tenses. You know, for me, that's a no. Even though I know that's not a proof of character, still, right? So don't ignore things that, you know, your mind tells you to pay attention to, right? Ask questions. I find that I'm more confident to ask questions than I was 10 years ago. I guess I'm like, you know what, nothing lost. Like, we ask the questions. So ask a lot of questions. And then, you know, this thing about social media, connect on another space. So if I feel the conversation is going this thing, I check the person out on LinkedIn or whatever, connect on other spaces. You might find people. I generally don't feel comfortable. If I mean, I've lived 45 years. If I connect with you on Facebook and we don't have one mutual friend, I'm like, kilo day. Where are you? Where am I? You know? And then finally, it may not be for you indeed. Like everybody has said, you know, what works for somebody may not work for the other person. Just know you and do you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Where is your face? Where's your face again?
I'm here. I'm here. Oh, okay. The video. Oh, sorry. No vex. Okay.
Thank you very much. That's our awesome guest, prime discussant today. It's been a really, really amazing discussion. Thank you so much, Chinedum, for
and I was going to ask a question. I was going to ask a question.
From who now?
Would anybody try this just because of this conversation? Or is there anybody who will not try this because of this question? Yes. So show by a raise of hand if you will give it a try just because we had this conversation.
I want to answer from them. They will consider it. Yeah. Thank you so much. Big thank you, everyone joining us here. I really appreciate you coming in, including someone that just came in now. Welcome, Victoria. And big thank you to those that joined us. Big thank you to those that have joined us on YouTube. We